Good morning, friends. So, in the uh, previous class, we have learned how to create files, create directories, and adding information to the files, displaying the contents of the files, how to remove files, how to remove directories, how to display the date and time, and several commands we have learned. And today we will continue with the commands and we will learn some other commands. Okay. And for today this is the first command, that is copying a file. So whenever you want to rename or to if you want to duplicate a file, suppose if you are having a file say f1 and you want to create the same file with other name f2 so that you can use both of them. So for that you need to use a command known as cp command. So cp command is used to copy files, right? Cp stands for nothing but copy. So the syntax for cp command will be cp space file1 space file2, where the file1 is the file which you want to copy it into new one, that is file2. Now what happens after the execution of this command is the file1 will be copied to file2 and both file will exist in the directory. Okay, file1 also will be there and file2 will also will be there, and the contents of both the files will be same. Okay, so for that you need to simply use cp command. So cp, so you are using a file f1 which you want to copy into a file say f2. So you need to give spaces between these two files as well as between the command and the first input. So see, the cp f1 f2 will copies the file f1 to the file f2. So both the files will be existed in the directory, and f1, what are the contents f1 will have, the same contents will be held by f2. So whenever you want to delete a file, you can delete f2, that will not impact the file f1. That's you can do. And the options available with this cp command is same as I told you, that -i option is there with cp command. So this -i option can be used by cp command. So again it is -i nothing but interactive copying. So interactive copying means whenever you use a command cp -i f1 f2, so what it does is it before it copies the contents of file f1 into f2, it will ask for the confirmation. So really, do you want to copy the contents of f1 to f2? If you press y, then it will copies. If you press n, it will not copies the file. This is used because if already f2 contains some information, say for example f2 are already containing some information and you are going to copy the contents of f1 and f1 into f2. So what happens here is the f2 contents will be overwritten. So for that confirmation, it will ask whether you want to really copy that one or not. So if you press yes, the f1 contents will be copied into f2, and if any contents are already existed in the f2 will be overwritten. Those contents will be deleted and the contents of f1 will be copied to f2. So if you really want to do that, you can go for it. Otherwise you can use any other file name. Okay, then the next command is renaming a file. So for renaming a file you will use move command. mv stands for move command. So what the move command will do is it will rename a file. For example, if we use the command mv space f1 space f2, so what it does is it will rename the file f1 to f2. That means the file f1 will not be there after the execution of the command, and the contents of f1, the same contents of f1 will be stored in f2. So whenever you want to rename a file f1 to f2, you can use move command. Okay, so this is the syntax for move command. Move followed by the file name which you want to rename it, and space the file name which the new contents will be stored with this new name, that is f2. So f1 will be in existence before the execution of this command. After the execution of this command, f1 will be renamed as f2, but the contents will be same. So this is the difference between cp and mv. Whenever you use cp command, that both files will be in existence after the execution of the command, but in a move command, when you use move command, the new file only will be in existence, the old file will be deleted. So that means you are renaming a file. Okay. And the next command is compare command. CMP stands for comparison. If at any time if you want to compare two files, so comparison means you want to check whether the contents of both the files are same or not. So this you can do with the compare command, CMP command. Again the same format will follow. Comparison, for comparison CMP is the command for comparison, followed by file1 space file2. So you want to compare these file1 and file2. You want to check whether the contents of both the files are same or not. So whenever you execute a command, if both the files having the same content, so even the cases, lower cases and upper cases, even the content is also same, then it will not produce any output. So simply the command prompt will appears again, so you will not get any output. That means you have successfully executed the command and the contents of both the files are same. If the contents of f1 and f2 are not same, if they are mismatching, then what happens? Then it displays the line number and character location of the first occurrence. So for example, I'm taking an example here. Say f1 file contains I am a student. So this is the contents of, say, f1. Similarly, f2 file contains I am a student. So what here, what is the when you observe this case, both the contents of f1 and f2 are same. Even the capital letters, even the spaces, even the characters used in both the files are same. So whenever you execute the cmp command, f1 and f2, cmp f1 and f2, you will don't get any output because both are same. The command will not produce any output. If I am changing this, so I am a student, so here I am changing f2, I am, say for example I am giving my name here, I am Kishore. Okay, so now what is in this case, the f1 file contains some characters or some two lines. First line contains I space am and the second line contains a student. So whenever you use cmp command to compare both the files f1 and f2, it will compare line by line and character by character. So first character is in f1 is I, so here also the first character is I, so no problem. Then space okay, then small a okay, then okay, fine. Here the first line is compared and both are same. When coming to the second line, here the first letter is A, but in the f2 file the first letter is K. So what output will be? The line number is 2 where the difference is found, and also the character location, where is that character? First place, so 2 1. So line number is 2 and the first character is mismatching, so it shows 2 and 1. That means in line number 2 the first character is mismatching. So it works something like that. So this is used whenever you want to compare two files. Remember that whenever you are comparing two files, if both the files contents are same, it will not produce any result. If both are mismatching, what the result will be? The command will produce the line number where it started mismatching and the character number where the mismatch appears, the first character where the mismatch appears. Remember that the first character which is mismatching in both the files, it will be displayed on the screen. Got it? And the next important command is wc command. So wc is nothing but word count. So w stands for word and c stands for count. So this command is used to find the number of lines, words and characters which the file contains. Say for example, again I am taking an example, f1 file has information like this is, one second, this is Unix. Okay, so F1 file contains some information, that is this is Unix. So whenever you write a command like wcf1, so what we want to do is we want to count the number of lines which the file is having, and the number of words, and also the number of characters the file contains. Now in this case, the F1 contains how many lines? This is one line, this first line is in the second line, Unix is in the third line. If you type this is Unix in a single line, then it will shows only one line is available. If you are typing that means if you are pressing enter button after this, then pressing enter button after is, then it will shows there are three lines. So what will be the output? So what are the numbers? First number is nothing but the number of lines. Generally the wc command will displays four columns. The first column is nothing but here the 5 is nothing but the number of lines that the file is having, and the second column is nothing but the number of words that the file is having, and the third column is nothing but the number of character that the file is having, and the fourth column is nothing but the file name which you want to display the output. So I have taken this example F1, which is having this is Unix content, where this is in first line, E is in first line, second line, and Unix is in third line. So what will be the output? Whenever you execute a command on wcf1, the output will be 3, because we are having 3 lines, and words again 3, because we are having 3 words. This is one word, E is second word, and Unix is third word. And how many characters we are having? 4 in first line, 2 in second line, and again 4 in third line. So that means we are having 10 characters. And what is the file name? File name is nothing but F1. So you are getting the output as 3 3 10 F1. So remember, the first column is nothing but number of lines the file is having, the second one is the number of words the file is having, and the third column is nothing but the number of character that the file is having, and the fourth one is nothing but the file name where you are searching this output. Got it? And the same wc file can be used for several files at once. That means you can use wc command with several files. So whenever going to execute wc command like wc file1 space file2 space file3, then it will show the output like this, something like this. Though the first row represents the number of lines, the number of words, and the number of characters of which one? File 1. And again the second row represents the number of lines in file 2, the number of words in file 2, the number of characters in file 2, and again the file name. Similarly for the third file also you will get. Okay, and finally you also get the total of this. That means the total of this total number of lines that the 3 files is having, the total number of words that the 3 files are having, and similarly the total number of characters those 3 files are having. Okay, so this is the output you will get by using wc command. So wc is nothing but word count. So similarly you can use wc command with some options also. So the first, let us see what is the first option. wc minus l stands for nothing but number of lines. So whenever you are using wc command with minus l option, wc minus l will only displays the number of files in a file. So number of lines in a file, that means wc, if you are using wc minus l with f1, that means it will displays only the number of lines in file f1. So it will not show number of words, and it will not show number of characters. It only displays the number of lines. Similarly, minus w option can be used with wc command, where you will only able to display the number of words in that file. And also minus c, which can be only used to display the number of characters. I think you have got difference between normal WC and WC with options. Whenever using a normal WC, you will get all the three outputs like number of lines, words and characters you will get. But whenever you are using the WC command with options like minus L only for number of lines, and minus W is only for number of words, and minus C is for only number of characters, you can use that. And also you can use the combination of these three options. So for example, C minus LW, so WC minus LW, what it does is it will only displays the number of lines as well as number of words, but it will not displays the number of characters. Similarly for WC, it only going to display you the number of words and characters. And with the option minus LC, that means you are only going to display the number of lines and characters in the given file. So that will happen with the options, right? You can use the combinations, or similarly you can also use like WC minus LWC. That means you are going to display lines, words and characters. So you can also use LWC, or simply you can use WC. Whenever you want to display all the three things like number of lines, words and characters, you can use simply WC. Or else if at any moment you want to only display number of lines or only display number of words, or the combination of both, two of them, you can use these options. Then we will move into the next command, and the next command is, the commands are nothing but listing of files. This is somewhat important in tool. This command is very important because we will use very frequently this command. So listing of files, how we can list files in your directory, we can use. The first command to list files is nothing but ls. So ls is nothing but list. So listing of files, say for example you are in your directory, say MVR is our directory where we are working now, and this under this MVR we have created so many directories, like so you have created directory D1, you have created directory D2, and you have also created directory D3. Similarly, this directory is also having some files, say F1, F2, F3. Okay, so whenever you want to display what this MVR is containing, then you can use simply ls command, because as I already told you that whenever you are logging into the system, you will be under your directory. So the current directory or pw, if you use the command pwd, it will display /user/mvr. that means you are under the mvr directory. Okay, so whenever you are using this ls command, you can just simply, you will get a prompt, as I told you that dollar prompt will be appearing into this whenever you enter into the system. And at the dollar prompt, if you type ls command, that means you are listing out all the files which are having in this mvr directory. So whenever you display ls, it will shows d1, d2, d3, f1, f2, f3. Okay, so all the directories and all the files which the mvr directory contains will be listed out, will be displayed on the screen. Okay, and we will move with the options of ls we are having. So this, remember that this ls command doesn't need to give any input with that command, simply ls you will get all the output. Okay, so ls minus x. So ls minus, what is this ls minus x means? It displays width wise. Say for example, if you are having hundreds of files in your directory, so whenever you type ls command, it will not be able to show all the files, because the screen size is somewhat like smaller, so that we cannot able to see all the files at once. So it will be directly scroll down to the last page where you will find the last few directories or the files. Okay, so when you use ls minus x command, it will show you the file names in widthwise. That means in monitor, the file 1 will be stored here, displayed here, then file 2, file 3, file 4, file 5, file 6, and then directory 1, directory 2, directory 3, directory 4, directory 5, directory 6, something it will display like this. So widthwise you will find the all the things on the screen, right? Similarly, ls and ls with pg option, you will see pg option. So here you will see ls then piping symbol PG. This is called a piping symbol, vertical line, which is called a piping symbol in Unix. Whenever you use this piping symbol with ls command and followed by pg command, it displays the files and directories page wise. As I said earlier, when we are having hundreds of directories and files in your directory, it will just scrolls down to the last page where you will find the last few directories or files on the screen. So whenever you execute this command, it will first show the few files, and it will ask to press any button to display the second page. So the second page will be displayed after you press any button. Okay, then again, if still files are having, then it will again ask you to continue. That means you need to press again any button, then the third page will be displayed, and so on until the last page. So the content, the files and directories will be displayed page wise. So when you use both of them, again, if you are having so many files and directories in your directory, you need to use ls minus x and piping symbol pg. So now what happens is it will displays all the files and directories widthwise and also page wise. So as I said, widthwise means files will be displayed like this. So even that also not enough to display all the files, then the next page will be displayed after pressing the button, any button. So again, the next page you will find files in the widthwise, and then it will be continued until the last few files are also displayed. And the other option with ls command is ls minus a. So minus a is used to display the hidden files in your directory. Suppose whenever you create some hidden files, normal ls command cannot display the list of cannot display the files which are hidden. So whenever you want to display the hidden files in your directory, you need to use the command, the option minus a with ls command. So whenever you use minus a option with ls commands, it will displays all the hidden directories. Generally the hidden directories will have a starting character as a dot. So dot and double dot files are all hidden files. So wherever you find a file which is having a file name and starting with a dot or a double dot, are nothing but hidden files. So normal ls command will not be able to display those files. So whenever you want to display the hidden files, you need to use this option with ls command. So ls minus a will always displays the all files also along with the hidden files. Okay, then other option with ls command is ls minus f. So normal ls file will not will be going to display you the files and directories. You will not be able to distinguish between them, because which one is directory, which one is file, you will not be going to understand which one is directory and which one is file. But whenever you use ls minus f command, it will displays the list of all the files and directories with some sort of indication symbols. So if you find here, I'm going to I used a command ls with the option minus f for to display the files and directories in my present working directory. So whenever I type ls minus f and press enter, it displays something. So where you will find something like a1 a2 a3 sample, then followed by forward slash, letter then followed by star, and notes followed by @ mark. Okay, so in this what happens is normal files like a1 a2 or a3 are normal files, and the file which is ending with this forward slash is nothing but a directory. So that means a1 a2 a3 are files, but sample is not a file, sample is a directory. And star means this letter is nothing but an executable file which can be executed, and a means symbolic link file. So notes is nothing but a file which is a symbolic link to some other file. So what are these symbolic links, what are soft links, what are hard links, we are going to discuss in our coming sessions. So for the time being, ls minus f option will always going to display you the list of files and directories, and it will also use some sort of signals to indicate whether the file is normal file or a directory or a executable file or a link file, that it will do. Okay, and we will continue with some other options in the ls. command. So ls minus r. So ls minus r means r stands for reverse order. Reverse order means generally ls command will displace the file in ascending order. Now minus r stands for it displays files and directories in reverse order, that is descending order they will displace. Okay, and minus capital R is the another option. This is minus capital R stands for recursive displaying. Recursive displaying means generally what happens whenever you use ls command, it will displace the files and directories, but you will not be able to display the files of the subdirectories. For example, as I said, if I am working in mvr, and if mvr contains, say for example, d1 directory, and this d1 directory is again containing some other directories or files, say for example it contains d5, f1, f2. Hope you are getting my point. So I am under mvr directory. I have created a directory d1. Under this d1 I have again created say for one directory d5 and also two files f1 and f2. So when you are displaying the contents of this ember with using ls command, this ls command only displays d1. It will not displays the contents of d1, that is d5, d1, f1. It will not going to display. So with the normal ls command you are not going to do that. So what you will do, you will use ls minus r command, which is recursive displaying. That means it will displace the files, the directories in your current directory, and if your current directory is having some other directories and those directories are already having some other files or directories, that is also going to be displayed. So recursive means you are going to display the directories of your present working directories and the subcontents of your directories also, that you are going to display. And then the third option with ls minus ls is ls minus t. So it displays files and directories based on the date and time of creation. That means the file which is created first will be displayed first. So generally what we'll do is we will create some files, but the system will automatically stores when the file is created, what is the time and date which was created, it will stores. So whenever you use ls minus t option, that means it will displace all the files and the file which is created first will be displayed first. Okay, and the next option is ls minus rt. As I said, r minus small r stands for reversing. Reversing means now we are using reversing as well as time. That means in the previous case you are displaying the file which is created first, now it will be displayed last. So the file which is created first will be displayed last when you use minus rt. And ls minus I option is used to display the directories, files, inode numbers. Again I am stating here, inode numbers is a separate concept, we will discuss it later, but for the time being minus I option is used to create or display the inode numbers of all the files and directories. Okay, and the last option with minus ls minus l is, this is the important thing you need to understand. So whenever you use minus l option with minus l option with ls command, you are going to get the output as shown in the slide. So for example, it is having some columns. The first column is type, then permission, then link, then username, then group name, then size in bytes, then date of creation, then file name. So when you observe this, you are having so many columns, and each column is going to represent something about that file. Okay, so let us understand what are those columns, and we'll discuss. The first one is type. So whenever you find type, that means in the type you are, so see here it displayed two files, sample and sample1. These are the two files it displayed with some information. Let us see what is the information. So sample type is hyphen symbol. So whenever you are finding hyphen symbol, that means it is a normal file, it is not a directory, it is a simple normal file. Okay, then permissions. So as I said in the first class, Unix is having 3 levels of security. In the second level, we can give read and write and executable permissions to each and every file. And now here the permission is nothing but the user, the owner of that file is given to the file a sample. So here you will again find 9 columns again. So 9 columns or 10 columns will be there. So each file is having 3 groups, I mean 3 parts. So the first 3 parts of the permission column is the permissions of the owner who has created it, and the second 3 parts of the permission is the permissions of the group. That means the owner is belonging to some group. For example, if you are working under CP lab, you are, say for example, you are 60 students, and what I done is I have created 3 groups among you. So for 1 to 20 numbers are first group, 21 to 40 roll numbers are the second group, and 41 to 60 numbers are the third group. So I have made 3 groups and I asked you to work together. So if the roll number 5 in the first group has created a file, he will be the owner of that file, and the group means the roll number 1 to 20 are the group belongs to, so the 5 roll number 5 belongs to the first group, so the group will be 1. So this file cannot be accessed by the other group. Second group cannot access, third groups cannot access. You can give permissions like that. Similarly, others means the last 3 points is the 3 permissions is for others. So as I said, roll number 5 is the owner, and 5 belongs to which group? First group, and others are nothing but the second group and third group. So here you need to give permissions for 3 categories. The first category is for yourself, the file created by the owner. So the owner is the owner will has to give permissions for himself. So and then again the owner has to give permissions for the group, so the group to which he belongs to, and also he needs to give permissions for the others means the other groups can also access the file with the permissions given by the owner. So all this stuff will be given here at the permissions column. And don't worry, our next class is about permissions only, so you will get in detailed explanation about the permissions and how to give permissions, how to remove permissions, and all the stuff you are going to learn in the next class itself. And then link, as I said, every file will have some links, soft links, hard links, and symbolic links it will have. And again we will discuss what are the links in the next coming classes. So again here you will find link. So that means sample has 1 link and sample 1 file has 2 links. So we will discuss it later. Then shaker is nothing but the username, that means the owner of the file who created those files. And this shaker belongs to which group? DRK group. So he belongs to DRK group and he created those sample 1 and sample 2 file. Again the next column represents the size of the file. So that file sample size is 560 and the file sample 1 size is 700 bytes. Then followed by the date and the time where the file was, when the file was created. So the first file was created on November 3rd at 1:30, and the second file was created at March 5th 7:30. And last we will find file name. So sample is the file name and sample 1 is the second file name. Okay. Now coming to the meta characters. See, these meta characters are very, very, very important. And I forgot to explain some more things here. See, this is the type of the file which the symbol indicates the type of a file. If you find hyphen, that means it is an ordinary file. If you find D, means it is a directory. If you find B, it stands for block file. Again I am saying here block file, so you will understand what is a block file in the later stages. And if you find C here, that means it is a special character file. What is a special character file? Again we will discuss it in the file in detail. And if you find L, that means it is a link file. So what are the types you can find is you may find here a hyphen for an ordinary file, you may find D for directory file, a B for special block file, or C for a special character file, or L for a symbolic link file. You may find some types of files here. And now we are moving to the wild characters or meta characters of Unix, which is very important thing. So you need to understand here the meta characters. There are four types of meta characters here. One is star. Star always represents, as I said earlier, all. So whenever you are writing star means we are representing all. Okay. Then question mark is again the second meta character. Second meta character question mark represents one single character. Only one single character it represents. And then square brackets is the third meta character. Square brackets is nothing but a range. We will call it as, we will write within the square brackets, say for example 1 to 1 to 4. If I write like this, that means we are representing numbers 1 2 3 and 4. It is also called the range meta character. Then hyphen, as I used here, hyphen is already always used to separate two things. So these four are called meta characters are Unix, and we will use these meta characters to listing of files. Okay, say for example you are having thousands of files in your directory, and you want to display some particular files. For example, in the first case you see ls a star. So now see what is ls a star. Ls a star means a, we all know that it is a character, a normal alphabetic, then followed with star, which is followed by star symbols. As I said, what is a star? Star means nothing but all. So this ls command is using a star, means we are going to display all the files and directories whose starting letter is a followed by anything. That means you are having, say for example, you are having a file name known as apple, also x, and a abc. I'm taking some examples here. So say for example in your directory you are having some files like apple, x, and abc, a book, another file is book. Say for example another file is cat. Okay, something like you are having in your directory, right? So whenever you are using this ls a star, so as I said earlier, what is a star means? A, because a is the first letter, so you are going to display all the files which are having a as the first letter. Okay, and after that we have put a star mark. Star mark means anything. After that, anything, any number of characters. For all I have already told you. So now let us see one by one. apple, apple, because in this file name a is the first letter, and after that we did not to bother, because we are searching for the file names which are starting with only letter a. After that it may be anything, so apple will be displayed. Then the second file will see x. So again in this file we are, the first letter is a, therefore x will also be displayed. Then the first letter in the third file is ant, so a is the first letter, so again ant will be also be displayed. And in the fourth file we are having a single letter, that is the file name is only a, and also the first character is a, therefore this also will be displayed. And again aa is another file name. In this again the first character is a, so it will be displayed. Then again in this file abc, again the first character is a, it will also be displayed. And then coming to the book, what is the first letter here? It is b, it is not a, so it will not be displayed. Similarly in the next file the first letter is c, but it is not a, but the second letter is a, but we are searching for only the first letters. So cat is not, we are not which we are looking for, so cat will also not be displayed. So this ls a star means it will displays all the files which starting letter should be a. After that it may contain anything, any number of characters it may contain. Okay, then let us see the second example. ls b star k. Again just understand it clearly. So ls b star k means B is the first letter which we are looking. So again we are looking to find some files in our directory. So what we are looking is, we are looking for a file name which starting letter should be B. Then I have put star mark. Star mark means all. So anything after that, so first letter must be B, after that anything must be there, and finally the last letter must be also K. So we are all looking for some files which starting letter should be B and the ending letter should be K, and we are not bothered about in between. So first letter B and the last letter is K. Whatever it is having in between, we are not going to uh, uh, looking for. So the files like book, the files like buc, kbuck, and say for example bk, babcd, k. See the examples. Book, first letter is B, we are satisfying the condition. The last letter is K, yes, it satisfied the condition. So in between, whatever it may be, we don't want to search for. Similarly here also, first letter and last letters are B and K, so it will be displayed. Here also it is having only two letters B and K, but the first letter is B and the second letter is K, so it is also going to be displayed. And again B A B C D K, again the first letter is B and the last letter is K, so it will also be displayed. Suppose for example a file is there BAKB. So BAKB is also a file in your directory, but whether it is going to display, no, because the first letter is B. Okay, it is fine, condition is satisfied. What is the last letter? The last letter is again B, it is not K, so therefore it will not going to be displayed. Okay, and the next option, next example I am taking here is ls star k. Again star k means the file may contain anything, but only thing is the last letter must be K. So only the last letter we are going to look. If the last letter, file name is ending with the letter K, then all the files whose last letter is K are going to be displayed on the screen, right? Similarly, let us see LSAK. No, it is a question mark K here. We are going to search question mark. Now see, whenever you put a star k means we are searching for the only files which starting letter is a and ending letter is k. But here this question mark represents, as I said earlier, question mark represents a single character. So you understand that whenever you are putting a question mark k, the file name is not more than 3 characters, because a is the first letter, question mark only represents one letter, so therefore this is the second character, and k is the third character. So all the files which length of the file name is only 3 character, and the second condition must it must satisfy is the first letter must be a and the last letter must be k. So between a and k it may be any letter, but it should be a single character. So abk, file name with abk satisfies our condition, but the file name abck will not satisfy our condition, because we are searching for the file name which starting letter is a and the last letter is k, and in between any single character is allowed. But in this condition we are satisfied the first condition, that is the first letter and the last letter is satisfied, but in between these two there are two characters. We are only looking for the single character, so this is not going to satisfy us, so it will not be displayed on the screen. Hope you are getting the point. We will see some more examples. Again lsb question mark k, that means again the length of display all 4 length file names, because what is the length of the file names? 4 lengths, because b is first character, k is last character, and between there are 2 question mark symbols. So first question mark symbol represents one character, and then the second question mark symbol second character. So what we are looking here, we are looking here for all the file names whose length must be, file name length is only 4 characters, and the first letter should be b and the second last letter should be k. In between there may be any 2 characters are allowed. So bok book is okay, fine, but buk buck is not going to satisfy our condition, because box length is only 3 characters, it's not going to display. And see again, ls range, here we are using a e i o u and then question mark. So what it means is, here we are using AEIOU. That means whenever you represent some group of characters in a square bracket, that means that we are looking for a file which starting letter must maybe A or E or I or O or U. So the file names which starts with A or E or I or O or Q followed by anything will be displayed on the screen. So now what is the length of the file, we cannot say here, because only we can say is the file names will starts with AEIOU only. There may be other files which the starting letter will be B or C or D or something, whatever it may be, but it will only displays the files which starting letter is A or E or I or O or U. Okay. And again the next example is ls then exclamatory mark AEIOU. This is nothing but not symbol. Not symbol means in the previous case we are going to display all the files with starting letter is AEIOU, but in this case it is going to display the list of all the files which are not having the first letter as AEIOU. In the previous case the first letter must be AEIOU, but in this case the first letter must not be AEIOU. So other than AEIOU files will be displayed. Again the next example is K to V. K to V means this is the range of alphabets. So from letter K to letter V, whatever the letters are having, the files will be displayed, all the files whose starting letter is K or L or M N O P Q R S T U V. So whatever the files which are starting with those letters will be displayed on the screen. And the next we are putting star mark means whatever the things which comes after K L M N O P Q R S T U V, we are not going to consider. So whatever it may be, it will going to be displayed on the screen. Okay. So this link files and all that stuff we are going to discuss tomorrow. Okay. So again, if you have any clarifications or doubts, please comment in the comment box. I'm going to get back. Okay.